everybody. So today we're going to be doing a little bit shorter of a flow, and everything is going to be down on the ground, so we're not going to be standing at all. And we'll just start out laying down. So I'm going to use 2 blocks. So if you don't have any blocks, go ahead and grab a couple of thick books, hardcover probably, and just get them near you so that you have them. And we'll start by laying down on our backs. Feet, hips width apart, let your knees drop in, hands up towards the ceiling. Take a moment, some long, deep inhales and exhales. So trying to bring that breath all the way down to the lowest part of your belly and expand in every direction up to your collarbones. And then when you need to exhale, pull the navel in, exhale everything out. Please don't come in. So from here, opening your eyes, you're going to bring your arms right next to your sides. Lift your chin a little bit. Make sure that you have your upper back flat down on the ground. Press into your heels, and we're just going to start to roll up off of the booty, squeezing up towards the ceiling, and as you exhale, roll back down. So noticing what's happening with your legs as you're here. So if you have a little bit of an imbalance with your strength, you might find that you're kind of moving side to side. Let's try to engage all the muscles and really focus on lifting the hips straight up and lowering straight back down. So my right side is much stronger than my left, and it tends to push over. So I'm going to really try to just lift straight up and lower straight back down. Taking this a few more times, lifting up and lowering back down. 2 more like this. Really squeeze, pull your belly in, your booty's squeezing towards the ceiling. You're looking up the entire time, so the only time that you should be looking over is when your hips are down on the ground. And then the next time that we come up, we're going to hold it. See if you can squeeze a little bit higher. Maybe bringing the fingertips up towards the ceiling, the triceps and shoulders on the ground, pressing into them. Maybe you can lift a little higher, still keeping that chin away from your chest. And then as you exhale, we're just going to roll the hips back down. Take your left ankle across your right thigh, letting the knee drop out, and if it feels good, pulling the legs in towards the chest, and just rotate your right ankle a couple of times. And then we're going to take the left ankle off of the right leg, reach the right leg high, pressing the heel towards the ceiling, your toes back towards your shin, and just move through this a couple of times. We're going to lengthen up as we inhale. As you exhale, bend the knee. Maybe you can pull the knee in closer towards your chest. Inhale, lengthen long again. Exhale, bend the knee. Trying this a few times, noticing any sensations that you're feeling down the back of that leg. And next time that you have your leg lifted, holding there, see if you can just pull the leg a little bit closer towards you, but don't let your booty come off the ground. Your hips are staying low, pulling that leg back. And then we'll just cross at that right ankle, crossing the ankle across the left thigh, and then if it feels good, pull both legs into your chest and rotate the left foot a couple of times. Once you're ready, you're going to just take that right foot off, lengthen the left leg long, doing the same thing we did on the other side. So pointing the toe and then flexing. And then we'll bend the knee and lengthen that heel up towards the ceiling. Bending the knee, maybe you can pull the knee closer into the chest and then lengthen up. Make sure you're keeping your hips on the ground so you're not rolling off up onto your low back. Noticing if this side feels a little bit different than the other side felt. Really trying to press out through that heel. And the next time you have that leg lifted, we'll hold it there, lengthening it up to the ceiling. When you're ready, taking that foot down, take the feet so that they're about the width of your mat, and we're just going to windscreen wiper the knees side to side. See if you can bring whatever knees on the inside all the way towards the mat. And then we're going to come back to center. Take the soles of the feet together, let the knees drop out. Holding here for a moment. Looking down, seeing if your hips are even with one another. And then we're going to do sort of a bridge from here. So lifting the chin up off the chest, press into your backs of your triceps. We're going to press into the sides of the feet, squeeze the glutes, trying to lift, keeping the knees out. As you exhale, lower back down. Inhaling to lift, and exhaling to lower. A few more times like this. So maybe your knees aren't as far out as mine. Maybe they're pointing up towards the diagonal more than out towards the sides. That's fine. Just trying to get them out and just squeezing the glutes as high as feels comfortable. One more time like this, squeezing up, let's hold. See if you can get a little higher. And then when you're ready, rolling down, knees up towards the ceiling, pull them into the chest. Just rock around a little bit. And then when it feels good, rocking forward and back along your mat. And then you're going to come all the way up and make your way all the way over to all fours. Spreading the fingertips wide, knees are right underneath the hips, your wrists are right underneath the shoulders. Start to flow through cat and cow. And then find your way back to center, pulling the belly in. We'll start with the left side. Inhale to open up. As you exhale, take that hand back towards your booty. The back of the hand's going to come to your low back, around maybe to the opposite hip. Try to even out, so maybe you're kicking your hips out to the right or to the left like I am. Pull them in. Press the weight into your left knee. We're going to reach the right leg back behind us, holding here. Try to keep opening that chest. So if this is too much here, you can take the toes down. On your exhale, the toes are going to come down, the arm's going to lift all the way back up, and we're just going to thread it underneath the right. So bringing that left shoulder down to the floor. If it feels good, right arm can come back behind you. On your next exhale, slowly press back to center, and we'll take it to the other side. So you're gonna start by reaching up with that right arm, opening your chest. Take your hand back behind you to your low back, maybe all the way around. Pulling in through your belly, weight's gonna go into your right leg, and we're gonna reach back with the left. Try to keep opening your chest, pulling your belly in. Toes can come to the floor if you need to. We're just gonna hold here. And then bringing the toes down, reach your arm as high as you can. And as you exhale, thread under, head and shoulder down to the floor. Maybe you can bring your hand back behind you, finding that shoulder stretch and twist all in one. And then when it feels good, taking that arm back down, we'll press back to center. Take a round of cat and cow. And then we'll bring the hands just slightly forward, lifting up off of your knees, finding downward facing dog. Pedal out your legs here, bending one leg, straightening the other. We want to really send our chest back so that our shoulders and hips are in a line, and then you can bend your knees a little if you need to. Maybe shifting the hips side to side a little bit. And then from here, we're going to shift forward into plank. So slowly shifting into your plank, you can come to your knees. Just make sure that you're keeping the shoulders and hips in a line. So your hips aren't dropping down here, and they're not up here like in all fours. They're in a nice line, maybe up off of your toes. Spread your fingertips wide. When it feels good for you, shift it forward, elbows hugging back, lowering down. And then we're going to come all the way onto the belly. Spread your fingertips wide. Inhale, just the chest up. See if you can sink the lowest ribs down onto the mat. So you're just bringing that chest up. On your exhale, we'll roll down. Bringing your nose down to the floor. And inhale, rolling back up. Letting your chin be the last thing to lift. You're keeping those low ribs on the ground. Exhale, roll back down. Inhale, roll back up. And exhale down. Inhale, rolling up. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale, rolling up, holding here. This time if it feels good, see if you can slide your arms back, finding your way into like just half a locust pose. Or if it feels good, pull your belly in. Maybe you want to lift your legs, finding full locust. Squeeze those shoulders back down towards your hips. Your belly's pulling in. Glutes are engaged. And then on your exhale, lower down. Bring one cheek down to the ground. Rock the hips side to side. And then when you're ready, we're just going to come up onto our forearms, bending the left leg. Bring your heel towards your booty. Go ahead and grab your foot, squeezing it in, finding a quad stretch. So if it feels good, maybe you can pick up your knee off the ground, getting a little bit deeper here. Try to press your pelvis in. And then when you're ready, releasing that foot, we'll come back through center and take the other side. So really keep trying to squeeze the hips down towards the ground. And then go ahead and release. You're going to take your left knee out to the side. Sole of the foot is flat, so you're trying to pull the toes back towards the shin. Your left arm's going to come forward. We're going to cross the right arm under, getting a little bit of a shoulder stretch here. Start by bringing the gaze straight down. And then you're going to take your left hand on top of the right, stacking it. And we're going to open that left hand all the way up to the ceiling and then start to shift onto your back so you're finding a twist. On your exhale, bring that arm all the way back over. Unwind yourself back to center, and we'll do the other side. So right leg's gonna come out to the side. You're flexing your foot back towards your shin. Right arm's gonna reach, left arm's gonna pull under, holding here. Face down at the floor if it feels okay. And then when you're ready, you're gonna take your right arm on top of the left, reach it all the way up to the ceiling, finding your way back into that twist. Trying to relax here, getting your whole upper back on the floor if you can. And then on your next exhale, closing yourself all the way back up. Coming back to center. You're gonna bring your hands right next to your ribs, press yourself through all fours, and send your hips back, finding a child's pose. See if you can get really long here, bringing the knees wide, letting your chest sink down between the legs. On your next inhale, we're just going to walk ourselves back up to all fours. And we're going to start by bringing the right foot forward, finding yourself into a kneeling lunge. So if you need to, you can take your blocks down by your foot so you can really lengthen through your spine. Make sure that your knee is over your ankle. You're pressing into the top of that back foot. See if you can sink lower. If it feels good, maybe you can sort of traction your hips forward, keeping that back knee on the ground, as if you're trying to stretch the skin on the top of that thigh. Make sure your right knee is not dropping out to the side. Squeeze the glute on that left leg. And then if you like to, I'm going to stack both blocks to give myself a little bit more height in my left arm. I'm going to bend my left leg and try to reach back for it with my right hand. Notice if your right knee is starting to drop out to the side. If it feels okay and you can get the sole of your foot off the ground too, so you're just on the edge of it, that's cool. Otherwise, try to keep it squeezing in. And then we're going to release the foot and shift your weight back, finding your way into a half split. So squeeze the hips underneath you. You can bring the blocks next to you if you need to, so you can lengthen your spine a little bit longer and sink forward. When you're ready, we're going to press our way up. You're going to take your left toes, pivot them back behind you. Bring yourself so that you're facing the long edge of your mat, finding gate pose. Lengthen up. Inhale really tall. You're going to keep your right hand on your right thigh, and we're just going to lean over. You can bring the Left arm up over the head if it feels good. Try to squeeze your hips forward so you're not arching your back. On your next inhale, come all the way back up. We're going to take those right toes, press them up towards the ceiling. Maybe you need to bring the foot forward a little bit, but we're going to sit back onto the left heel if it feels okay. You can stick blocks under you and sit on them instead if you need to. And we're just going to sink it forward. So finding like a half child's pose here. See if you can keep lengthening your spine. On your next inhale, come back onto your hands. Sit yourself up, walk your hands over to the left. And then you're just going to press yourself back into plank and we're going to hold. So coming to your knees if you need to. Make sure you're squeezing in your glutes, your belly's pulled in, reaching through the heels. And then taking both knees down, take a round of cat and cow. And we'll move over to the left leg. So you're going to step your left leg forward, using the blocks if you like to bring the floor closer to you. Press into your foot on the back leg, squeeze your glute. Try to lengthen your spine long. Maybe you can kind of pull your hips forward, keeping your right leg on the ground where it is, so it's like you're trying to stretch your skin. Every time that you exhale, maybe you can sink more. Make sure you're squeezing the glute on that back leg. And then just like on the other side, if you want, we're going to take the blocks, stack them a little bit higher so that you have more space. You can tuck that back right heel towards your booty. If you can reach for it with your left hand, go ahead and grab. Try to keep your knee pulled in. If it drops out to the side, the sole of your foot is coming off the ground too, and you're just on the edge. Maybe twisting here. And then go ahead and release. We'll slowly come into that half split. Reaching your chest down towards your foot. Your hands can come onto your blocks. Just gives you a little bit more space to lengthen your spine. Noticing any sensations that are a little bit different than the other side. And maybe connecting breath back with your breath. And then when you're ready, you'll bring your hands to the inside of your left foot. Your right toes are going to pivot back behind you. Coming up, squeeze your hips. Bring that foot flat down if it feels good. Left hand's going to stay on the leg. We're just going to slide down towards it. You can reach your right arm over. And then inhale all the way back up. We're going to take the toes, point them up towards the ceiling. Adjust the foot if you need to. Sit your hips back onto your right heel. So again, you can sit back onto a block if it feels better. If sitting all the way down doesn't feel great. And if you can, just lean forward. Try to extend your spine long so you're reaching your tailbone back towards the wall behind you. When you're ready, walking your hands back, we'll walk them over to the side, and then you're just gonna pull that left leg under you, bringing yourself to sitting on both heels. So if this is good enough, you can stay like this. We're gonna try out hero pose, but we're gonna use our blocks. So you'll start, you're gonna bring your knees together and your feet a little bit wide, but you want the whole top of your foot on the ground. So you're not turning your ankles out to the sides. They're pointing straight down. Your little toes and your big toes are both trying to reach down towards the ground. We're gonna move our calf muscles out of the way, and we're gonna sit down, the hips, trying to bring them in between the heels. So your heels are right next to your hip, and then you can take your block or your book or whatever and you can sit on it, seeing how that feels. Maybe just staying right here. Maybe you wanna lean forward, trying to reach your tailbone back behind you, trying to keep your knees next to each other. And then when you're ready, coming back up, we're gonna just shift ourselves forward enough to move the block out from under us. We're gonna shift forward and tuck the toes under, and then we're gonna rock ourselves over so that we're in a crouch. So holding here first, see if you can get your feet all the way towards each other. Try to press your ankles together and your knees together. Feet touching, ankles touching. See if you can get your heels towards the floor. So if you're really flexible in the back of your ankles and your heels are on the ground, cool. Maybe you can lean forward a little bit more. If you need your hands on the ground to hold here, that's cool. We're just trying to put the weight back into those heels, stretching through the Achilles, trying to keep the legs glued towards each other. And then we're going to slowly come forward, cross at your ankles, rock yourself back, finding yourself into a cobbler pose. So soles of the feet together, knees dropping out. You can take your blocks or your books or whatever and put them under you if it feels better. I'm just going to let mine hang out. Hands back behind you. Inhale to lengthen your spine as long as you can, and then you can stay just here, or you can start to hinge your whole spine forward. So you're moving from that hip joint, trying to reach your chest forward, and you're not rounding in your spine. So you're keeping your spine just as long as your arms. Don't forget to breathe. On your next inhale, gently coming up. Moving your blocks out of the way. We're going to bring both legs wide. If you want to, you can just bring one leg wide and keep the other sole of the foot on the inside of the thigh if it feels better. Or you could also sit on your block. I'm just going to move my blocks back behind me actually and put my hands on them. And I'm going to lengthen my spine really long, and same thing that we just did. You're going to keep your spine just as long as your arms and just start to rock your chest forward. Soles of the feet are pointing straight up. Not the soles, the toes. Your toes are pointing straight up. Noticing if one side feels a little bit different than the other. Maybe you can move around a little. Remembering to breathe. When you're ready, we're going to take the hands back behind us, lengthen really tall, and then see if it feels good to turn your toes back towards the back and then back up. So you're just doing a little tiny rotation. Try to press the toes back to face the wall that's behind you and then bring them back to straight up and down. It's a little tiny movement. And then we'll come back into center, point your toes, and then flex them back. Noticing if one leg feels different than the other. So my left one is a little bit tighter and I can feel it as I pull my toes back. Try to keep your spine long. ready, we're gonna take our hands right under the knees, bring the legs together, crossing at the ankles, but bring them a little bit further forward so that they're really crossed at the ankles and not all the way back. Lengthen up really tall, inhaling, maybe looking up, and as you exhale, we're gonna shift the whole body forward. Try to keep your spine as long as you can. So if you need to, take those arms behind you, using the length in the arms to kind of be a, I don't know, example to your spine for the length. When you're ready, we're gonna inhale all the way back up. You're gonna keep your legs crossed the way they are. And by that I mean you're gonna keep whatever leg is in front, but we're gonna just start to pull them out. So you want your knees stacked. So maybe you can't get there, maybe you just have them here, that's okay. We're just gonna try to bring them towards this shape. Whatever leg's on bottom, if you need to, you can straighten it out. And we're just gonna lengthen really tall again, and then see if you can keep your sitting bones on the ground as you lean forward. Pressing into your feet. Keep the spine long, arms long. Try to relax the leg that's on the bottom. And then when you're ready, coming back up, we're gonna unwind our legs and cross the opposite ankle on top. Just starting with that regular easy seat. Hands back behind you, roll your shoulders back, get your arms and spine long, and then hinge everything forward, keeping that length. Noticing if it feels different with this opposite foot in front. Continuing to use those straight arms as a guide for your spine to stay long. On your next inhale, coming all the way back up, whatever leg's on in the front is gonna be the leg that's on top. We're gonna start to bring the knees so they're stacked. Bottom leg can come straight if you need to, so it's just the top one that's bent. We're gonna press into the feet if you have both. Try to get both sitting bones planted into the ground, lengthen through your spine, and maybe you can lean forward. So again, just noticing if this side feels different than the other side felt. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up, unwinding your legs, straightening them both out straight in front of you. Move the flesh away from your sitting bones, lengthen as tall as you can, grab hold of wherever you can reach, or just like we've been doing this whole time, you can lengthen your arms out behind you. Use them as a guide to bring your chest forward, and then keep that length as you just let your arms relax. See if every time you inhale, maybe you can come a little closer towards your feet with your chest, not with your face. And then on your inhale, we're gonna lift ourselves back up. I'm gonna turn. Make sure that you have your blocks or whatever you have handy. We're gonna slowly roll down onto our backs. Reach the arms up over the head. And then bringing them back down by the side. Soles of the feet onto the ground. Bring the feet hips width. We're gonna come back into that bridge, so lifting your hips off the ground, and then if you have a block or a book or something, or maybe two, stick them right underneath, like where your underwear line would be. Find where it's comfortable, so you might need to adjust a little bit. Getting where it feels good on your low back. You can maybe feel some release in the front of your hips, and just bring your focus back to your breath. So from here, if it feels okay, take the arms down, grabbing hold of whatever you have underneath your hips. You're going to start to pull both legs up off the ground. And then maybe if it feels good, you can lengthen them up above your head. Just coming into like a supported candlestick or supported shoulder stand. We're just going to hold here. And then if you're ready, bringing one foot down at a time. Pressing the feet into the ground, slide whatever you have under you out. Bring your feet mat's width, and just windscreen wiper the knees side to side again. And then taking the knees to face straight up, pull the knees into the chest, give yourself a tight squeeze. And as you exhale, release everything out. Find where you want to be for your Shavasana. So starting with 3 long, deep inhales through your nose, fill yourself with as much air as you can. Exhaling out through the mouth. And then just let your breath drop back into its natural state. Using each of your inhales to scan your body for tension and each of your exhales to just release the tension melting down into the mat. Trying to keep your focus on your breath, on the way it feels entering and exiting your body. If you're ready, you can slowly start to bring some movement back into your body, starting with your fingers and toes, and then maybe making the movements bigger by rocking your legs, rotating in your wrists, eventually lifting your arms up over your head, taking a deep, long breath through your whole body. And then as you exhale, just bend one knee at a time, gently roll off onto one side, pausing there. And then eventually blinking your eyes open, start to press yourself up, finding your way to any seated position that's comfortable for you. Take a moment to bring your hands to your heart center and give your body gratitude. And thank you so much for joining me. If you liked it, like, share, comment, let me know what you want to do next class. If you want to send me a donation, if you go to my Facebook page, Zyre Yoga, you can find information posted there. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.